Alright, when it's a transformer, not a transformer. When it doesn't transform! Yes, Lego have done this before, and Wilko Blox, or Blox from Wilko, or Blox brand Wilko, have kind of followed suit many years later. I have actually reviewed a non-transformable Lego-based robot, which you could disassemble into other things were totally different in many ways, and therefore we're not really a robot in disguise kind of thing, and they didn't pretend that it was. But for me, come on, if you're gonna give us something that's supposed to be a robot like this, then make it a transformable thing. I'm sure I've seen something like this from Wilko as well, where you can actually transform the robot, and if I can find that, I shall get it and review it. But I do like the artwork here, which is basically just a photo of the robot standing in a pose looking quite formidable. I've actually got some info in the box here. 3-in-1 robot. Disassemble the robot to create 2 other formidable models. Includes all you need to build the models. Now the only thing I don't like about that is the fact that the models include the head of the robot. Yeah, not too sure about that. Otherwise we've just got all the standard stuff that you can expect from Wilko Blox and God knows anybody else who's doing anything similar. It just occurs to me, I've never actually, of all the knockoff or influenced by Lego type stuff that isn't Lego, I've never actually reviewed any of the other stuff because I've never got my hands on it. And I've got to be honest, when I have looked at Wilko stuff before, they have always been rather good quality. This is something that I would not mind mixing with my regular Lego. I'm not a Lego purist by any stretch of the imagination, and I know there are some Lego purists out there, but, you know, get over it. There's other brands available, as the BBC would say. Other blocks of interconnecting plastic are available. Yeah, I quite like the look of this. The instructions are nice and clear, or at least they look nice and clear through the lens of a camera. And I think these would be quite easy to follow. 2 bad jobs. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go off to one side, and I'm going to go and actually build this while I've got something to entertain me. Yes, indeed. Because I'm clever like that, but I'm not clever enough to actually have the camera set up in a position to allow me to record myself building these things, because God, that's a nightmare in of itself that I do not wish to partake of. But I am willing to actually build it off camera and then come back and do it later. Maybe one day I will do a let's build kind of video, but I get the feeling that those are rather pedantic pain to do. But that's just my opinion. Anyhow, off I go, skis. See you later. So here we are, and it took about 20 minutes to get him into this particular configuration I'm about to show you, but before I show you that, I just want to show you this one joke which I completely missed out on. And some of you might be, well, some of you might have noticed, and some of you might be wondering what it means. I'm not one for small talk. Talk being that thing that engines get sometimes at, can sometimes mean that the wheels end up spinning your car off in one direction other than what you want it to be. And playing on words there. It's a bit of wordplay, but never mind. Here we are. This beautiful... Yeah. This, I believe, actually has a name on the instructions. That name being... Sound Prime. No idea what that's supposed to mean overall. That's supposed to be some kind of joke or whatnot, but Sound Prime. Yeah, took me about 20 minutes to put together, all said and done, which obviously is part and parcel of the fun of this sort of thing. As you can see, you got the robot head right here, except the autofocus doesn't know what to focus on at all here, because it is that much of a nightmare. Maybe if I just press the button on the camera to just, there we go, adjust the focus that way. Yeah, that's one thing I keep forgetting to do. Use the shutter button to actually adjust the autofocus that way. Yeah, you've got lots of kinds of articulation here, although some of it's a bit weirder than others. I mean, these just seem to be wings for the sake of being wings that can sort of fold around and whatnot, but don't always go down. Then it can go down like that, and so on and so forth, and he's got his robot head to go all the way around like that, and so on and so forth. You've got these things here, which I'm assuming must be supposedly some kind of laser thing, And then you've got the articulation for the most part, which is these bits here, how the wheels can end up, you know, making some funny little shapes there. But it works, and it looks kind of okay. These missiles do not come off at all. They're basically embedded into the plastic mold, so they're permanently in place. You can pretend that these are chain guns and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's just limited to what your imagination is like, I believe. Whoops. Yeah, so some of the bits are a little less well attached than others. Yeah, that can be a bit of an annoyance sometimes, but hey ho, just blame the person who designed it. I mean, look at this point here. That's not me making a mistake. That is actually how the instructions tell you to put it together. This bit here. Yeah, it would be better overall if it was actually, you know, there was a little bit that you could actually put on, but the instructions don't tell you to do that. And there's actually a spare bit that you could put in there. There's plenty of spare bits left over. In fact, this handful is all the spare bits that have not been used in this particular mould. Now that's something that has happened before in other kits I've done like this, even the Lego versions, for example. No one particular mould uses all of the bits, which does make you wonder, what were they thinking? But that does of course mean that you could conceivably just end up doing your own thing and coming up with your own ideas and alterations and whatnot. Just give it a little bit of a spin. That's one reason why I have this turntable here, so that I can spin it around every now and then so we can get a different look and I don't have to end up moving things around by hand so much. Kind of works some of the time, other times doesn't, because I really need to have it secured down a bit more, a bit differently, but hey ho, there we go. Right, on to round 2. Okay, so mode 2 is the Axle Spirit, and this one has this many spare parts left over. Yeah, not as many as the last one, the Sound Prime or Prime Sound or whatever the hell that one was called. This one I'm not as happy with, to be brutally honest. Just to give you a little spin around on my board here. Yeah, it moves okay. There's articulation, but the question is, what the hell are they thinking in so many different ways? I mean, there's little in the way of symmetry. A lot of the parts are so loosely designed that they just feel like they're going to fall off quite feebly. I mean, this section here can come off quite easily as well, but I'll show you that in a second. The head, oh wait, there we go, that was a second. The head will not move because of that being there until you move it, and then you've got this face guard thing here. This is just absolutely horrible. I can't for the life of me see any practical use out of this whatsoever. I mean, if you take all of these extra bits off and just concentrate it on, say, the body as it is here, then that tends to look okay in its own right, but they're just trying to use the parts for the sheer sake of using the parts. There's nothing there of any real play value, because it's just going to fall apart at the first, you know, at the first nudge. Here's hoping the robot mode is better, but out of the 2 modes I've tested so far, mode 2 is just horrible. That's not so much on it, it's the fact that I've just disassembled so much of it at this point. Ugh, no, I don't like this at all. But I will give you a quick look at the head here. It gives you one of the standard heads that they have for the models without any kind of face, just on the inside here. If the autofocus will do what it's supposed to do. Tell you what, let's just see if we can get there we go. Yeah, this face sculpt on the robot head itself, kind of generic but quite well done. The paint job, decent enough, except when you look at the chin, when you see some of it is a little off. But the inside, it's just a standard one of their heads for one of their creatures, which you can't really get loose at this point because of the way it's poked in. I had to poke that in myself, and of course I didn't realise that you couldn't retrieve it. But there's no face on that, obviously. But the robot face, yeah, suitably robotic. Yay. Just a bit weird that they use it for all of the other modes. It would have been better to have just gave us 3 different robot modes, to be honest. Hopefully the robot mode will be the best. I hope. And then finally, after God knows how long, because I actually lost track of how long it took, because it was so tedious to put together in certain areas, we have the robot itself. Now the basic skeletal structure rather, it's fairly sound. The arms and elbows and shoulder joints and whatnot all work rather well until you try to actually turn them like that. That didn't happen the last time. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, so many bits just like to fall off. I mean, it's got these little bits there that go onto the shoulders to sort of block the head from turning, which even when you don't have them on, the head still has some trouble turning, so yeah, that doesn't really hold so well, does it? But the legs do actually work quite well. It's quite structurally sound until about this point here, and that's because they seem to just insist on having so many different parts that just don't seem to really do much with each other to provide that much structural strength. You know, they do in general, the parts themselves do connect quite well. These bricks are top quality. They're not as good as Lego quality, of course, although you'd be hard to tell the difference. The main difference that you can tell that these are different is that they don't have the Lego logo on any of the pegs. They always have this one little peg here that's a little different. This little bit here, for example, is just such a nightmare. You stick it on so early in the build and then it's just kind of forgotten about, and then you sort of wonder what the hell it's supposed to be. And it's wings that just don't seem to do anything. You've got basically a claw here, but it's more like claws out of the predator. If there was another claw here to sort of give some sort of context to it, you could potentially use it to grab things with. And you've got the missile attack hand here, which means it could potentially shoot missiles at itself and somebody else at the same time. Yeah, like I say, in general, I like parts of it. I like the overall look and aesthetic. It's just the construction, unfortunately, it's a bit of a bad thing. I also noticed once I got a bit more of a close-up look. Oh, there we go. It's falling apart again. Once I got a bit more of a close-up look at the head, some of the paint. Let's see if I can just manually focus it using the button. No. There we go. Any second now. There we go. Some of the cursor's foiled again by the autofocus not being trustworthy. I'm gonna have to look again at a different camera at some point, aren't I? If I tell you what, let's just take this off. Some of the paint work does indeed sort of not always work as well as it should do. The eyes look good, the chin, beard bit doesn't. Sometimes you might be able to see this, you might not. Sometimes some of the grey does run onto the top of the red. But overall, with some modifications, I think this could work quite nicely. It's just as it is. No. Anyhow, I have managed to go looking in my off time for some more Wilko Bricks stuff, or Wilko Blox stuff, and I've managed to find a few more. So I'm going to be doing at least one video a week, perhaps, for a little while, amongst other videos that I might be doing for the foreseeable future, just to give me a bit more variety and so on and so forth. I'm still getting back into the swing of things as far as YouTube's concerned, but hey ho, here we go. I've been happily doing one video a week for a while. Oops, managed to break it a bit more. I'm trying to get myself back into 2 videos and oh, there we go. Yeah, nice quality bricks, just poor designs for some of the products. This one, I think with some modifications I could probably make something really decent out of that, but right now, not so much. And yes, there were spare bits. That many to be honest. Yeah, it's there is potential. Blocks themselves to make good, decent brick. It's just that, yeah, some of the designers could do with a few lessons in how to design things a bit. Ah well, it's worth it for the robot if you want to modify the robot, but it's not worth it for either of the other 2 modes. Where'd the other bit of the leg go?